The goal is to become aware of how you spend your resources so you're cognizant of where your time, energy, attention, and money are going. That way you can understand why you are where you are in your life and how to improve if you choose to do so. But so many of us, we feel like victims. We feel like victims of circumstances, or victims of our childhood, or victims of the divorce that we went through, or victims of whatever it is. But the truth is, we can dedicate more time, energy, attention, and money into solving or improving that area.
Bem-vindo ao podcast lendário de vida. Welcome to the Legendary Life Podcast. Yes, I'm speaking Portuguese. I am coming to you from Florianópolis, Brazil, where it's an international destination, holiday destination. It's an island off the coast of Brazil, the east coast of Brazil, and just having an amazing time here. Been here for a few days, and this is going to be a bit relevant because we're going to be talking about how you're not the same person you were before the pandemic. So we're going to be talking about where do we go from here? And I'm going to be sharing my own personal story and lessons that you can take and put into your life so that you can get back on track with whatever you're trying to achieve post-pandemic, or wherever you're trying to level up post-pandemic. We're going to get into how to think about improving your life and what actions you need to take. So if that's what you're interested in, you are in the right place, and excited to do this Real Talk Friday. Now, if you're new to the show, you may not know what this show is about. So let me just tell you, I'm your host, Ted Rice. I'm a health expert, been in this business for 23 years now. I coach mostly entrepreneurs, but also executives and other high-performing professionals. I help them transform their body. I was going to say change, but really transform their body. And this process ends up transforming their life. And the reason why we talk about the health and fitness stuff, as well as the personal development information, is because these things go hand in hand. Health and fitness is personal development, but we can't just talk about how to lift, how much aerobic exercise to do, what the best HIIT routines are. That stuff's all important. But sometimes those things, they can become a distraction from what we need to do in life. So today we're going to be talking about how to get back on track, how to level up your life post-pandemic. Because like I said at the beginning, you're not the same person you were before the pandemic. I mean, everybody got their ass kicked in 2020. I mean, I don't know about you, but 2020 was starting off with such a bang. I came back from Asia. I spent the holidays with my dad, spent a week with my dad. And then I was off to Colombia, Medellin, Colombia, and things were going great. I had friends there. It was amazing. And then the pandemic happened. And I don't need to tell you what happened after that, because you lived it. All of us had our routines disrupted. And we all received a wake-up call that really none of us wanted, right? Some of us lost our jobs while others have lost their loved ones. I mean, I had a crazy year. I was having such a good time living in Medellin. And then once that pandemic hit, once the quarantine started, I got super scared about losing my business. It turned out to be extremely good for business, to be honest. Not just my business started doing well because of the pandemic, but because I was limited with what I could do in my life, right? I couldn't go out. I couldn't go to the mall. I couldn't go get coffee. I couldn't even leave the apartment complex. In Colombia, you couldn't even leave the apartment building, or you would get fined about $300 US dollars. So I wasn't about to do that. Well, a little pro tip for my fellow travelers out there: you avoid breaking laws in other countries for sure. You never know how it's going to turn out, especially if you're in a place like Colombia or when I was in Asia. So I was locked in a room, had nothing to do, so I got to work. Not only that, and so it turned out to be really good in that way, but my father's health started deteriorating, and I had to fly back on a humanitarian flight on May 20th. Never forget that whole experience. And it was just the start of his decline, and he ended up dying on October 3rd. And I'm coming out of the haze of 2020, ended up in Brazil at the end of the year, in Brasilia, Brazil, which is like it's the capital city of Brazil, and got COVID. A lot of fun, not. And now I'm coming through all that. Here I am in Florianopolis. I'm feeling a renewed sense of energy. But I'll tell you something. I've got financial success. I'm doing well financially. I mean, people sometimes give me a hard. One of the things, some of the feedback that I got from the coaching. I mean, not the coaching, but the surveys that we asked for is, oh, stop plugging your coaching so much. And I totally understand. You just want to listen to the episode. Of course, I'm going to plug my coaching where I see fit. So thanks for the feedback, but that's not something I'm really going to listen to be honest. But we're not even trying to get coaching clients right now. We're trying to shift away from that and into some other areas, because I love coaching, but I got to trade my time for money to do that. And I want to scale my business, and trading time for money is not a good way to scale, even if you're getting paid a lot of money, right? And in spite of that, people keep on signing up for coaching calls, which, by the way, if you do that, that's fine. I'll let you know when I'm capped at clients. But I'm trying to get away from coaching, even though I love it. It is so much fun. I love it because it's instant gratification, to be honest. I mean, you get to help people, and every week they improve. And that's very, I like that instant gratification versus writing articles and doing all this other stuff. It's a lot of work. And then you're not even sure how it's going to pay off, because I'm not nearly as good of a writer as I am a coach. But anyway, I'm trying to figure out what the hell to do. Because before, it was all about creating financial success so that I could live the lifestyle that I wanted. And even more importantly than living the lifestyle, or I should say equally important, because lifestyles help us manage stress. Good lifestyles help us manage stress. And that is nothing to turn your nose up to. So lifestyles help us manage stress, but equally important, I wanted to help my father financially. He was still working in his mid and late 70s. And I wanted to get him to the point where, not that he never wanted to retire, but I wanted to at least take the financial pressure so he could work because he wanted to work, not because, oh man, I got to pay the bills. Imagine that, being in your 70s and still like living month to month, right? Not month to month. He had some savings, but it wasn't much. And so I wanted to help him. He really fell apart after all the tragedies that have happened in our family. And he ended up passing away on October 3rd, like I said, like I've shared in previous episodes. And I did the best I could. And to be honest, I'm happy. I'm content with how things went. I know I did my best, and that's all we can ever do. But what do I do now? And you may be wondering too, like, after we're coming out of 2020 and the coronavirus numbers are starting to come down with the vaccinations and all the other measures that we're doing. Some places, like I saw in New Zealand, they were having concerts again. Oh my gosh, can you not wait to get back to that? I am so sick and tired of the mask thing and all the other things that we've been doing, the social distancing, and just can't wait to get back to the new normal, right? Of course, we're different after the pandemic. We realized that, listen, someone can catch a virus in Wuhan, China, and then it ends up in New Zealand, of all places, or the Amazon in Brazil had a major issue with coronavirus, or New York. So we are more connected than we realized. And something that happens in a place where most of us will never visit, right? Wuhan, China. When I go to China, or if I go to China, I'm going to be visiting Beijing. I'm going to be visiting Shenzhen, maybe a few other places, but I've never heard of Wuhan before. So anyway, back to what can we do now? as things start to get back to this new normal, what can we do now? And if you're wondering, like, what do you do? I don't know if you're feeling the same way as I am, but it's like, okay, what do I need to do here moving forward? I feel like I'm in a good position financially, health-wise. I'm in a pretty good position. My relationships, I have people that care about me in my life. But what do I do now? And here's what I'll tell you. We have three major areas in our life: health, relationships, and wealth. And I want you to think about yourself right now. Think about your life. Think about the state of your health. How are you overweight? Are you obese? Are you normal weight? Are you lean and mean? Do you have a low resting heart rate because you're in good aerobic shape? Can you do some pull-ups or body weight exercise? Are you strong enough to do body weight exercises? Can you do push-ups? Can you do a series of push-ups? Can you do Bulgarian split squats? Can you hold a plank for a minute? Can you walk for hours? Look, do you have any biomarkers that are off in your health last time that you went to the doctor? Think about where you are with your health. Now think about where you are with your relationships. How's your relation? Are you in a relationship? Because if you're single, you're struggling with loneliness. If you're in a relationship, what's the health of that relationship? How about the relationship with your children if you have children? How's that doing? How's the relationship with your friends? Do you have friends, or do you have people who you hang out with because you don't want to be alone? Do you have people that support you in your goals, or do they want to stuff their faces with food, drink a bunch of alcohol, maybe do some drugs? Do they get upset when you don't participate with them? How are your relationships? How are your relationships with your parents? Then wealth. Are you living month to month? And it doesn't matter. You can be making $1 million bucks a year, but if you spend $1.5 million, you are broke. And you can make 50 grand a year, but if you spend less than what you make and you're able to save, you're doing better than that person who makes $1 million a year. And just in case if you think, oh, well, Ted, that's not true, Ted. People don't live like that. Oh, yes, they do. Just come to Miami. I'll introduce you to a few. Got a penthouse, a Lamborghini, in a bad situation financially. A lot of doctors do that too. So anyway, how is your wealth? Wealth isn't just how much money you have, it's your career. Are you in a business, or do you have a job that you're passionate about? You know why I sound so excited most of the time when I come on this podcast? It's because I love what I do. But when I was doing personal training, well, I loved personal training when I first started it, but 20 years in, I couldn't wait to leave. I spent 10 years too long in personal training. I was in the business for about 20 years, so actually 21, but it sounds better, just saying 20 years, and I spent 10 years too long in it, right? So where are you with your wealth? Where are you with your career? So after thinking about this, now what I want you to do is rate yourself on a scale 1 to 10. What is your satisfaction in each area? After thinking about your health, what would you rate? 1 being the lowest level of satisfaction, 10 being Bruce Lee. And now do the same thing with relationships and the same thing with wealth. And after you do that, what area did you score the lowest on? And for me, it was relationships. So I'm doing well health-wise. I'm doing well wealth-wise. I mean, I love what I do, but my relationships, and just to share a little, health-wise, I'm doing great. I mean, I'm getting back into shape. I'm going to be bothering you about the veins on my abs again. I'm getting lean. I'm working out. I've got tracking my calories, my protein. I'm doing amazing. I'm hitting my workouts. My joints are feeling good. Wealth-wise, I got money in the bank. I don't need you to sign up for coaching, although I'm happy to work with you. I don't need anything from anybody financially. But relationships, I don't have any remaining family members. Immediate family members. Now, I got cousins in the United States and they have children, they have wives. Both my cousins are guys. And so they both have wives, they both have children. And I haven't seen them in a while. I was married and now I'm divorced. As far as friends, I've got friends back in Miami, but it's been hard to make friends living the lifestyle that I live, right? Because I'm traveling. Now I make friends. I don't have problems making friends. People like to hang out with me, but I've got some loneliness. I'm struggling with some loneliness. Also, I haven't dated anyone since the whole, I've been on dates, a couple dates since Giselle and I split up, but that was at the end of 2019. And then 2020 hit. I mean, I'm 44 years old. I don't have kids. I don't know if I want kids. I don't know, I need to figure it out. So that's, for me, it's the lowest level. I need to figure that out. I need to get into a relationship. I need to see, okay, well, I think I want to be a father, right? But I need to take steps in that direction to figure it out, to explore it, to let it unfold. And if I'm not taking action on that area of my life, if I just choose to work on my health and go work out all the time or just make money all the time, it's not going to help me get that fulfillment that I'm looking for. And same thing with you. If you've got your health handled, your relationships handled, but you don't have your wealth handled, or you have your health and wealth handled, but you don't have your relationships, or you have your relationships and wealth, but you don't have your health, you're not doing awesome. You're not killing it. You're not crushing it. We need to be satisfied in all three areas. It's what it's all about. So I want to ask you, what did you score the lowest on? And that's the place where the biggest area of, or the biggest opportunity for improvement is. And so for me, what did I do? I joined a coaching program to help me with my relationships. I spent $2,000 to join a group coaching. I wanted to do one-on-one with the guy, but he was kind of moving away from doing one-on-one. And the one-on-one was going to be 4 one-on-one calls, or it was going to be 12 weeks of calls every week. So I spent $2,000 USD to join a coaching program to help me in this area. So just to let you know, I put my money where my mouth is. I don't just say, hire a coach, but I wouldn't hire a coach. No, I take action on this. And hiring professionals is the secret shortcut that you're looking for, by the way. Most smart people know that. Not smart, but not smart like, oh, I have a PhD smart. No, people who are living the type of life that they want know this. So if you ever feel like I'm just talking about coaching too much, it's because it works. It works for everyone. So now, how do we go about improving this area of our life? Now that we've figured out what area we need to work on, how do we improve it? And it's not as simple as just hiring a coach, by the way, although that if you want the fastest results, that's what you should do. But even then, before you even hire anyone or buy a course or go to a seminar or buy an info product or read a book, I want you to understand this. Everyone has 4 finite resources: time, energy, attention, and money. And I want you to think about what your excuses, because that's all they are, what your excuses have been for not handling this area. And we'll use exercise as an example. So many people, I don't have time to exercise. Total bullshit. Okay, if you say that, stop saying that. You are lying. You are lying. Don't lie. One of the best ways to improve your integrity and to become more emotionally healthy is to stop telling lies. You have time. Do you have 5 minutes a day? I had one coaching client, 5 minutes a day he worked out. He got great results. Lost over 20 pounds. Not just working out, by the way, for 5 minutes a day, but also focusing on his nutrition. So he spent maybe 20 to 30 minutes a day doing this stuff, and he lost 20 pounds and was able to keep it off, and now he's crushing it. So we all have time, energy, attention, and money. These are the 4 finite resources. And what you can start to do is, let's say it like this. You can do 2 things with these resources. You can invest them or you can waste them, right? You can get distracted. You can distract yourself. So for example, I say this stuff a lot. People get into arguments with random folks online on social media about politics and low carb diets or whatever you're arguing about. It really doesn't matter. But is that a good use of your energy? For most of us, it's not. If you're not getting paid to do that, if that doesn't help you improve your health, your relationships, or your finances, why are you doing it? Now, for some people, it's okay to invest and relax and take some time off. But if you're doing something that stresses you out, what is the return on investment for that time? It's a waste for most of us. And so many of us, including myself, by the way, I'm not immune to this and certainly guilty. I'm as guilty as everyone else. I have the same temptations, right? I've got this same stupid chimpanzee stuff going on in my head that everybody else has. So you can invest your resources or you can waste them. So funny in America too. Everybody's so focused on money. It's the big thing. Not everyone, by the way, but people who struggle with money. So like, oh, I can't spend the money on that. It's like, listen, you'll make money, you'll lose money, you're going to spend so much money. How many pieces of clothes do you have in your closet that you can't even fit into? Or maybe you can fit into them, but you just don't wear them because you just bought it because you thought, I'll just buy some things because it makes me feel good when I buy things. I mean, I know I have more than I need. I spent a lot of money on clothes. Then it wore like probably less than 1/3 of what I bought. Hardly ever wore the other stuff. So how are you investing your time, energy, attention, and money? How are you wasting your time, energy, attention, and money? Now, hopefully when you're listening to this, it's an investment for you. Because here's the thing, it's not always obvious what is an investment and what is a waste of time. Because if you looked at this the wrong way, you could say, oh, every time that I eat food that is really delicious, or every time I watch a Netflix series and maybe watch a few more episodes, I'm wasting my time. That's not true. Nur Ayal, the author of the book Indistractable, who I've interviewed on the show recently, he said something amazing. He's like, listen, if something is a distraction, you need to know what you're being distracted from. And the truth is that if you're investing too much of your time, energy, attention, and money into your health, and like some people I know with the biohacking thing, they're shining light on their nether regions, infrared light on their nether regions. And then they're having these crazy morning routines where, I wake up, I journal, I meditate, and then I do exercise, and then I shine light on my balls, and then I take a cold shower, and then right? What are you distracting yourself from? So anything can be a distraction, including making money. I know I worked with a lot of people in Miami Beach. It was a distraction for them. They needed to level up their health. They needed to level up their relationships. Oh, probably even more so than their health. But there they were. Oh, I got to make money. I got to work. I got to sell my company. I got to, it's like, why are you distracting yourself from what you really need to do? So anything can be a distraction. But again, you got to know what you're distracting yourself from. For me, I used exercise as a way to distract myself. I used Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I used working out in the gym. It's not that those things are bad. It was the intention behind it. I would have to okay, no, I can't go to jiu-jitsu today. No, I got to go. It was like an addiction to jiu-jitsu, right? An addiction to exercise. Why? Because I had negative feelings and I wanted to change them. I had negative feelings because I wasn't where I wanted to be in my business. I had negative feelings about the things that have happened to me in the past. And so I was distracting myself from doing therapy or learning how to be better in relationships to improve myself. And I could always tell myself, no, but I'm exercising. It's good for me. So you got to be careful with this because sometimes watching a Netflix series is exactly what you need. Oh my gosh, The Mandalorian was amazing. What else is another good series? I'm watching For All Mankind on Apple TV, Apple Plus, Apple TV, I forget what it's called, Apple TV Plus or whatever it is. Check that series out if you haven't seen it. Amazing. So you gotta, even for self-development can be a way to distract yourself if you're not taking action. And what I want to tell you is this. The goal when you try to level up whatever area of your life needs help, the goal isn't to become a perfect person. The goal isn't to become a person who never overeats or drinks a little too much or buys something that they don't need or watches a few more episodes. It's not to become that. The goal is to become aware of how you spend your resources so you're cognizant of where your time, energy, attention, and money are going. That way you can understand why you are where you are in your life and how to improve if you choose to do so. But so many of us, we feel like victims. We feel like victims of circumstances, or victims of our childhood, or victims of the divorce that we went through, or victims of whatever it is. But the truth is, we can dedicate more time, energy, attention, and money into solving or improving that area. So after hearing about this, after talking about it a bit, I want to ask you, what was the area that you thought, or what area do you think you need to level up in? And then how are you spending your time, energy, attention, and money? Where are you distracting yourself? What are the things that are a distraction from what you're trying to do? And this isn't easy sometimes, it's hard. Just like when I was exercising, I was over exercising. I really needed to sit down and look at my business when I was in my 20s and early 30s. I didn't want to do it. So I distracted myself from working on my business. I distracted myself from working on my relationships, and I focused on my health. And I was ripped. I was in great shape, but I was unhappy. And it was affecting my health in a negative way, to the point where I actually ended up having a bunch of health problems, even though I was exercising all the time. So you got to sit and think about this. You've got to maybe even put it down on paper. I'm not a big journaler, to be honest. Maybe someone will do a challenge with me, or I'll work with a coach who will have me do some journaling. I'm open to it, but it's not something that I do. But certainly, I think about things in this way. And what do I need to work on? I can make more money, but if I'm unwilling to spend that money and invest in the help that I need to level up my relationships, right? In other words, I'm looking out for a new therapist. Last year, I spent thousands of dollars doing weekly therapy sessions. If I'm unwilling to spend money to level up that part of my life, I'm just not going to grow. It doesn't matter how much I exercise. It doesn't matter how much money I make. If I'm unwilling to invest some of that time, energy, money, and attention into the area that needs the most work, I'm going to spin my wheels. I'm going to procrastinate. But I'm going to tell myself, oh no, I'm doing great work here. I'm making a lot of money. I'm in great health, but truly, I'm not that happy because my relationships are suffering. I need to go there. And I'm not talking about sex. I'm not talking about casual relationships. I'm talking about deep connections, because deep connections are healing. Connections with other people are healing. But if we have transactional relationships like so many of us have, oh, how you doing, Bob? Oh, I'm great. John, okay. How's everything going? Oh, just fantastic, right? Those surface level conversations, or if you're dating, people won't become vulnerable, but that's the stuff that we have to do if we want to improve our relationships. And I'm talking about that because that's the area that I need to work on. But it could be your health, could be your wealth. A lot of people have, so many stories about wealth, about money, so many issues. Yeah, people who don't have enough money and they struggle and say, money isn't everything, even though it can, it can make my life a lot easier. It can allow me to help pay for my children, help pay for my parents. And then people overemphasize money. I already spend so much money. I can't spend money to help improve my relationships. I can't hire a therapist. Okay, you're going to suffer then. And I want you to think about that. Wherever you're suffering in your life, you're going to need to change the way you're doing things. You're suffering because you're unwilling to go there and do the work. Oh, but I can't spend the money. Bullshit. Total fucking bullshit. I know people say, I don't like it when you cuss, Ted, but total fucking bullshit. We got to stop lying to ourselves, folks. Got to tell ourselves the truth. Really interesting. I was one of the psychotherapists that I worked with in Orlando. She does marriage counseling. And I was way past the point in my relationship where I would even entertain that. It was just over for us. But I read about it because I was curious. And the first thing, and she's a highly regarded therapist for marriage. And the thing, I read about her approach, and the number one thing that she talked about in getting success with marriage counseling was you've got to be 100% honest. No lies. Tell the truth. You got to talk. You got to get it out. You got to tell the truth. Because so many of us, we lie or we hold back and don't say what's really affecting us. And so that's in marriage counseling. But I want to suggest to you that you have a relationship with yourself, and we lie to ourselves. We lie to ourselves. All of us do. So the key to becoming healthier, happier, it's not always what we think. A lot of it has to do with, especially in America, has to do with improving our mindset, improving our emotional health. I got into an argument with a doctor, actually, who's been on this show. And the biomedical model of obesity, it talks about genetics. Obesity is highly genetic. If you have more of these certain genes, you're more likely to be obese. Oh, and epigenetics. So if there's these epigenetic changes that happen in your family because they were obese, then that can influence you and it can influence your children. And they talk about hormones. They talk about leptin. Not estrogen or testosterone, folks. Leptin. Leptin is the master hormone that regulates your body weight, let's say, your body fat levels. And I said, that's great. But my issue is that why aren't the psychological and social aspects being addressed? And where are the studies comparing the effects of genes and epigenetics and leptin versus being in poverty, which, by the way, there's a huge connection in the United States, at least, and other rich countries. If you're poor in a rich country, higher likelihood to be obese. Now, if you're poor in a poor country, no. But I'm thinking that you're probably not in Thailand or Cambodia. You're probably in the United States and in Canada, in the UK, Australia, perhaps in Europe. So this is one of the conversations that we don't talk about. Stress drives stress eating. So many of us, we use eating as a coping mechanism. So yeah, there may be some genes influencing behavior, but it's really hard to figure out where do the genes start and our environment and lifestyle, where does that begin? Because you'll see the same types of genes in other populations around the world, and the same levels of obesity don't happen. In other words, they've got similar genes, but they don't have the same level of obesity. What's going on there? Well, the environment is different. So these are the things that we need to pay attention to, the psychological aspects of health, the social aspects of health. So I've kind of talked about a lot here, but I want to ask you, what is your big takeaway from listening to today's episode? What was the big takeaway in going through the three major areas of life, health, wealth, and relationships? What was the big takeaway from rating your level of satisfaction in each of those areas? What was your big takeaway from talking about the 4 finite resources, time, energy, attention, and money? What was the big takeaway of applying all of this to your life? And then what is one thing that you can do in the real world, not just listening to something, but what is one thing you can do today that can move you towards where you want to be in your life? I'll tell you a secret, if you will. It's not really a secret, but kind of. There is no one so enlightened that they don't need to work on themselves. That is one of the keys in life. I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, but it is a truth thing. There is no mountain to summit. There is just the endless climb. Once you get to one peak, you start to realize, there's more to climb here. And then you get to the next peak and there's more to climb. We all need to be growing. It's how we're wired as human beings. So what is one thing that you can start to do that gives you also return on investment? I had a client, Jeff, and shout out to you if you're listening, Jeff. I asked him, what is like something really big that you've taken away from working with me? And he said, you know what? Being results oriented. So many of us, we say we need to do things, but a lot of it's busy work. A lot of it we don't get a return on investment from. We invest our time, energy, money, attention. And what's the return on the investment? Nada, as they would say in Portuguese here in Brazil. Nada, nothing, not anything that you can be proud of. Be results oriented with your actions. What are the results that you're getting from what you're doing? And if you want something different, you're going to have to change it. And I want to ask you now, what is that one thing that you can do to start to change things? Because that is what I want you to focus on. That's what I want you to take away from this. And now I'm going to wrap things up. So if you enjoyed today's episode, I am happy. We are really good working on taking things to the next level. We got a new website coming. We're in the process of hiring a new team. I mean, so many things going on here. We're just gonna crush it. And I don't mean crush it to show off or to brag. I mean, crush it in a way to step up to help you and get more out of this podcast. That's our commitment to you. So if you're enjoying it, stay tuned. And on Monday, we're going to have Dr. Mike T. Nelson back to talk to you about how to optimize your nutrition and lifestyle. We have another great conversation with Mike T. Nelson. If you haven't heard my conversations with him in the past, you're in for a treat. We always have a fantastic conversation. You're going to come away with a lot from that conversation. So stay tuned for that on Monday. Have an amazing weekend. And if you like this episode, if you want to keep the conversation going, check me out. I'm spending a lot of time on Twitter. Go to Twitter if you're on there and hit me up at TED_RYCE. So Ted Rice, Ted_Rice on Twitter. Let's keep the conversation going. Did you get something from this episode? Did you learn something? Is there something you disagreed on? Hit me up on Twitter. Let's have a conversation about it. That's all I've got. Have an amazing weekend. Love you lots and talk to you on Monday.